Hi guys, welcome. This is a bit of a recap video that I just wanted to create to assist you guys when preparing for the exams. So I'm just going to run through the units that we actually did during the year. Remember, this is quite a it's been a long year, so there's a lot of work to be covered. And also remember that this is probably one of your, well, not probably, it is your main subject. So there is a few important items that you need to look at. So also please feel free to send me mails or contact me if you have any questions before the exams. So just come jumping into it immediately. So we've got 9 units that we looked at during the year. So the one is just the introduction, with 2 being the construction management, construction process. Also didn't focus too much on these. Unit 1 and 2 is mostly introduction and is not that important. You guys can read through it because it just gives you a bit of background for the exam. Getting to project procurement, this is now a little bit more important. I will talk a little bit more in depth about all of these once we get there. And then project organization is also very important. Resource management as well. Managing the supply chain builds up to our actual project planning, our control, and then our responsibility, which we dealt with in our last lecture. Okay, so you guys can immediately see what is important, what not, and what is at the sharp end of our projects. Okay, so unit 1, like I said, is just read through it. We basically just defined who the construction manager is and the construction project manager, define the construction industry. So even though this is not that important, it will assist you in answering questions and making arguments during the exam. Okay, then unit 2 is the same thing. Explain the organization's role towards a project team. Answer how the construction organization manages a project. So again, the main thing is that you need to be able to know when we're talking about a large company or a small company. So that's more or less what unit 2 is all about. Okay, then getting into unit 3, understanding what procurement is, and then the implementing procedure relate to supply chain and procurement tender procedures. Remember, this is what you guys wrote test about is the procurement processes and so on. So please go through this. This is quite important. It all relates to your project life cycles. Please go through the different stages of the project life cycle and know what is implemented. The main thing that I'll test here is that you understand what happens at what stage of the project. Okay, and just remember this alteration that I made is that it's chapters 3, 5, and 10. So just looking at the chapters, chapter 3 is all about procurement methods, chapter 5 is your tendering procedures, and then chapter 10 is your developing your construction sequence. So there you must know your master program, your different programs is starting to get in, come in here. Okay, so getting to unit 4, your learning outcomes. You must be able to identify risks on a construction project, identify the mitigation thereof, and draft the risk management plan. So from our previous lecture, you would recognize many of these items. Then you must be able to manage your risks, plan for your risk and programming techniques. And this is now risk a little bit more towards your construction management risk and not health and safety risk. So please note that. The histogram that we spoke about, the hierarchy of risks, you can also apply to this. Okay, so chapter 7 is all about managing your risk. 8 is the planning process, and then 9 is your programming techniques. So if you do proper planning, you will have you will mitigate most of your risks. And then unit 5 is able to draft a realistic pre-contract and post-contract method statements. Very important. Able to implement control procedures for managing resources on site. Okay, guys, I'll probably ask you questions in the form of explaining stuff, but I might combine it by explaining certain procedures on site through a development of a method statement. Remember the differentiation between health and safety method statements and normal method statements. Okay, so it's method statements, controlling, and then controlling your resources. So please look at chapter 11 and 18. 11 is all about method statements, and 18 is all about controlling your resources. Then we get into unit 6, managing the supply chain. This is now actually starting to implement your planning. So understand what is meant with management of the supply chain, apply the best supply management procedures for a scenario. So the content is supply chain integration, lean construction, fast track construction, subcontractors, type of subcontractors, traditional procurement, management procurement, work package procurement, forms of contracts, subcontracts, and then your construction schemes. But basically, in a nutshell, please look at chapter 6, which is you're managing the supply chain, and then chapter 18, which we already did in the previous unit, but just the final thing section, which is remember we did lean construction and waste management from chapter 18 in this unit. So please remember the link between this unit and our last unit, unit 9, for lean construction, waste management, health and safety, and so on. Okay, so there's a little bit of a overlap between those. But then we get to chapter 7, where we actually now we start planning our project proper, where we have our program, cash flow, and resource planning. Very important is cash flow and resource planning. So the content in this was developing your construction sequence, planning the project, and then planning your cash flow. So this is chapter 13 and 14. Planning the project is, remember, your pre-contract planning, pre-contract meetings, etc. So this is now when you've been awarded, how do you plan before you actually go into construction. And then 14 is all about planning your cash flow. Remember the examples that we did there, very important for the exams. Then we get to unit 8, which is now controlling your program. So now you monitor your project plan, the implementation actions, project control procedures, controlling your time and your money. And this is now chapters 15, project control procedures, 16, controlling your time, and 17, controlling your money. And remember the examples that we did here, which is also very important for your exam. Okay, so, and that's more or less it. So unit 7 and 8 is very important for the exams, and then we get to unit 9, which we dealt with in the previous lecture, which is all about health and safety, sustainability, lean construction, waste management. So these last ones we actually dealt with in chapter 18 quite a bit. So safety planning, sustainability, lean construction, waste management, and this is all in chapter 12. So chapter 12, you must be able to discuss items like, for instance, what is the pressures on health and safety and how it's mitigated and what type of forms you will use, etc. Okay guys, so good luck with the exams. Like I said, you're more than welcome to contact me if you do have any questions, and yeah, I hope to hear from you soon.